Welcome to the Wokest Warren, where we have the Wokest Discourse. This is part 3 of the special Minneapolis edition. One of the good things about being on vacation is that it gives me time to read and really focus on what I'm reading. So I'm continuing with this book, Open Veins of Latin America by Eduardo Galeano. Because I want to talk about something, and I'm gonna step all over myself doing this, but I want to talk about the labor aristocracy in the United States vis-a-vis the people of Latin America. And the people that Galeano calls out for being labor aristocracy are the steelworkers. So I wrote this all down because I couldn't believe it. I mean, I believe it. Once I saw it written down, I believe it. But it's just so out in the open robbery. So we're talking about the 60s here, okay? Basically, Brazil, gave away land to Bethlehem Steel and U.S. Steel that was very rich in iron ore. Now, I don't know what's happened to that land now, if it was taken back by the government of Brazil or what happened to it. And frankly, I don't give a shit, really. I mean, I hope it went back to the people. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about how there's workers in the United States and then there's workers in the developing world. And what the workers in the developing world are saying is, how are you building the machines that subjugate us? Like, if we're to have international solidarity, we need to have international solidarity with the workers of South America, including the miners. And right now, we should be paying attention to the miners in Bolivia. Like, you want to talk about some people that have been screwed over for centuries? Like, the miners in Bolivia, I mean, it's hard to think of something worse than chattel slavery. But I think that the miners in Bolivia could contend for absolute prize for the most miserable life. And they are unionized and they are telling their government that they're just not going to put up with shit. They're not going to put up with shit. And that's what we need to be telling our government, right? But right now, too many of us are deluded by Trump. And that's just a fact. It's just a fact that is. Anyway, so when we think of U.S. Steel, we think of the jobs that it created in the Mahoning Valley and how the Mahoning Valley developed around the steel industry and around those jobs. And it's hard to think of it from the point of view of a Brazilian miner who's mining the iron ore, who's like, well, you're making what you're making, which is above poverty wages. Meanwhile, I'm starving. So maybe you could show a little bit of solidarity and care about like my health and my life. And I think that that's perfectly reasonable. I think that there is a capacity problem. I think that, the workers in America they have like incredible demands put on them in terms of their commute to work and their childcare situations. And a lot of workers, probably the majority of workers, don't even have time to even think about what's going on in Brazil because they don't have capacity. Like, they're just trying to make it to their kids' basketball game. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, what's wrong with it is that we live in a society where we don't have universal childcare. And a 40-hour work week, as far as I'm concerned, is too long. That's much too long. Parents are spending like way too much time away from their families. I think that if we, as a country, believe in family, which they all say they have family fucking values. Well, if you've got family fucking values, then why do you want someone to spend 40 hours a week away from their family? So anyway, some people were talking recently, I can't remember who to cite them, but it wasn't my idea. They were talking about how they didn't use the term labor aristocracy because that wasn't the idea. The idea is that you have to have sort of like a strata of workers that aren't living hand to mouth. You have to have an Engels to fund the operation. Like, we don't have deep pockets on the left the way they do on the right, the way the conservatives do, because we oppose capitalism. So right there, that's the system isn't going to pay to like tear itself down. Anyway, I think that deindustrialization in the United States is very interesting because I believe that in the 1970s and going into the 1980s, I feel like industrial unions in the United States were really starting to make some serious progress. And it was only by the sunset of those industries that the politicians were able to pull the country rightward with Reagan. Because you had a bunch of people who were organized and they were trying to begin to make those international connections. And, it died before that happened. So it gives us hope, I think, for the future that, the workers of today in the United States can forge those bonds of solidarity with workers in Latin America and in Asia, especially China, and in Africa, you know, like, we have to be international, or it's no good. It's no good, because, like, okay, so, you know, we have a minimum wage in the United States and a 40-hour work week, but, like, what about the miners in Peru? Like, what about the miners in Brazil? What about the coal miners in West Virginia? Do you ever think about them? Like, the average coal miner does not make as much money as you think that they would. I saw something the other day that was saying it was like mid-teens, like $15 an hour to start out in a coal mine. Now, those aren't union wages. You know they're not. But, like, wow. We need to care about living wages for farm workers, living wages for miners, living wages for all workers. Which leads me to this article that I read today that I will post in the description. It's an article that says that there is no revolutionary subject, which contravenes the idea of the primacy of the proletariat in the revolution. I am not familiar with this argument. I know it's a pretty basic argument, but, like, I didn't really care about it much until today. And we really need to start thinking about that. We really need to start thinking about every single one of us. Like, is a revolutionary subject. Every single one of us. No matter where you live, what your race is, who you voted for, like, you're part of the revolutionary class. Thanks for listening.